you could hold your applause till the end. We're trying to have a little meditation in between speakers. Our next speaker is Joon Thomas, who has a long involvement in educating the public about Florida Springs. A Gainesville-based artist, printmaker, and calligrapher, Joon is a founding member of the Sweetwater Print Cooperative, now celebrating its 30th anniversary, and teaches Chinese history and calligraphy at the Academy for Five-Element Acupuncture. You can find Joon's work online at palmstone.com and worldcalligraphy.com. Do you want to use the mic? No. Okay.
If you can't hear me, complain. Otherwise, I'm not going to use the mic. My name's Joon. I've lived in Gainesville for a long time now, but I grew up in a big city. This is Tehran, the capital of Iran, and when I was a little child, it was just over 2 million people. By the time I finished high school, it was over 5 million people, and today it has about 20 million people. And the water for Tehran comes from that snow up there. When I was a small child, the view of the mountains was so clear that I used to imagine that I could take my finger and just cut it along that sharp ridge of snow. But by the time that I was in 5th grade, so many cars had poured onto the streets that if you could see the mountains, it was through a thick haze of smog. But the reminder of the snow was still present all the time because this vast network of water channels goes alongside every street of the city and waters the trees. And when I was a child, those water channels still filled these small pools or that were in almost every courtyard or garden of the city. In Persian or Farsi, the word for a spring is chesh or cheshmeh, which means eye. And we always thought that these pools were the eye of the garden. Now, I survived living in such a big city by escaping into the mountains whenever I could. And fortunately, by the time we were 11 or 12 years old, my friends and I could go by ourselves. You could take a city bus to the end of the line, walk through the village, and find yourself in the mountains. And if you can imagine going with me today, it's summer, it's hot, it's dry, and we're going to go to a place that's a popular picnic spot. It's called Haftoz, which means 7 pools. And you can see there the pools and the waterfalls in between them. There are actually several places in Iran with the same name. I guess 7 is auspicious and nature is cooperative. But today we are not going to splash in that beautiful cold water, slide down the waterfalls. It's great fun. And enjoy that coolness. And we're not going to stop at the tea house and listen to the stream gurgling. We're going to push on up the valley. And I said it was dry, and you can feel the dryness there. You can see the leaves are just, desiccated on the summer trees. Sometimes you can see the reflection of the sky in the water. It's beautiful. But as we go farther up the valley, the stream bed becomes rockier. The path is narrower. We have to push our way through a flock of sheep that's making its way down. Very true. And now we get to the top of the spring, and there is a tree. Now, this is not one of the grander springs of Iran. There's no garden, no large pool, no structures. But obviously, people have been there because here stands a tree, faded tatters of cloth knotted in the branches, moving in the dry, hot air. Each knot represents a heartfelt request by someone who has come here to make their vow, that they might conceive a child, that a child get better, that there be enough snow next winter to supply water for the rest of the year. In this environment, the snow and sun and water are linked to each other. This spring is an eye opening among the rocks where ice-cold water emerges after traveling underground from the snow on the mountain ridges high above. An ancient word in Persian for love is mehr. You'll know this word as mitra, which is known from India onwards, or mithra. Mithraic religions goes all the way to the British Isles. Mitra or Mer is the ancient Indo-Iranian guardian of waters, but is often represented as the sun. And as such, Mer is the mediator between God and humans, the keeper of covenants or agreements. The word has so many layers of meaning because it's such an ancient concept. So it can mean covenant, friendship, love, mercy, a gift or bequest, knowledge, and prosperity. And each length of fabric tied to this tree is a covenant or an agreement that the requester is making, vowing that in return for the request that they're asking, they will keep their side of the agreement. Where's my thing? Beneath the tree, the spring slides ice cold under the water, rustling the wild mint and nettles that are there and releasing a pungent smell into the air. To this day, that smell is in my memory as the smell of water in the mountains. Even as kids, we knew that when we came to this spot, as unmarked as it was, to try to light a fire. Sometimes that was difficult. In the winter especially, there's not a lot of fuel around. It's a very dry environment. But on this summer day, maybe we can finally get in the water. It's a smooth, white stone stream bed there, and you can just slide down. My second story happens at a very different time of year. It's winter. It's still and cold. The trees are dark against the landscape. There are patches of snow on the ground. Otherwise, it's a clear day. This is the only time I went in the mountains with an actual professional guide. A teacher at my school had hired him and invited me to come along. And I think we were planning to go up high in the mountains where there was a stone shelter where we could light a fire and spend the night. But no sooner had we started out than the guide said, "Oh, the weather's about to change." And instead of climbing high, we're headed west just along the lower foothills of the mountains. And soon enough, sure thing, the sky turned gray and it started to snow. And we came to the top of a narrow valley. We clambered down the stones and came to a place where there was just a blank wall around a large compound or enclosure. We went down onto the frozen stream bed. There was a low arched tunnel, and we clambered through that tunnel and found ourselves on the inside of this complex. Where are we? We're at the back of a large shrine complex. And on this night, it's closed. There are no pilgrims. We didn't see the Golden Dome lit up at night. We didn't go inside where the turquoise, entryway or the prayer hall. We didn't go into the brightly lit domed chamber where the tomb of the holy person was. There are thousands of these types of shrines in Iran. I tried to look up to find out how many there are, and the best guess is that there are over 8,000 of them. And it's considered more, acceptable that these are to Sufi saints or holy people than to mention in particular that they're next to a spring. But it turns out that almost every one of these shrines is next to a spring or some other body of water. And surely most of these are built on places that predate Islam and that are very, very old. When pilgrims come, they grasp forward to try to touch the latticework of the tomb and ask for their requests, tying knots of cloth and other offerings to it. This particular complex is really large, but some of them are very modest affairs. The spring water flows in to the compound, and the people, this is what people use to do their ablutions before entering the shrine and praying. But people also go to the actual springs themselves, right outside the complex. There the water's pouring out from the rock, tumbling downwards and splashing down in the waterfall as it enters the shrine. On this night, it's cold, no pilgrims. The lone caretaker comes down and invites us to his room. He has one flame for light and for whatever amount of heat it's going to give us. And darkness closes in, and in the deep, cold stillness of the mountain valley surrounds us. We go to sleep, but through the thick earthen floor, I sense the flow of spring water moving silently under the ice.